world. I hope all is well and all is right. It's beautiful out here today. It's a little cold, but I didn't want to leave you hanging. So join me. It's the Point of Impact podcast. You'll be mulling it over with Michael Huffman. Hello world. I hope all is well and all is right. It's the Point of Impact podcast. You'll be mulling it over with Michael Huffman. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about bridging the gap between lower class individuals, or what some people would call lower class individuals, the working class, and the higher class. People that we look up to, people that's running our Fortune 500 companies, people making the world go round. Well, I know that it takes all sorts of people to make the world go round. The people clocking in 9 to 5, and the people that work at the bank where we get our checks cashed. The people that own those banks, the people that run the world. All that matters. Everybody is important and everybody has a role to play. It's up to you what role that is. Throughout history, individuals from lower classes have bridged the social, economic, and political gaps. Jacob Riis, a Danish immigrant, documented the poverty of New York tenants in 1890. He wrote a book titled How the Other Half Lives. It forced the upper classes and political elite to confront the realities of the poor, resulting in improved housing conditions and health code regulations. The great country that we live in, the United States of America, well, it passed the GI Bill, allowing working class soldiers the benefit of entering universities and professions previously only reserved for the upper class, which created a massive group of middle class that was now educated and narrowing over time that gap. The 20th century rolled around and brought with it its trends. Upper class fashion and culture often adopted trends originated by lower class individuals or subcultures. This trickle-up effect allowed fashion, music, and social attitudes of the working class to bridge the cultural gap with the elite. We are all guilty of judging others by their appearance. I can understand that. Oftentimes, someone's appearance does not always reflect the person that they truly are. In medieval times, your social standings almost never changed unless you married into wealth, or you displayed some kind of extraordinary heroism in battle, or you invented some type of ingenuity that made life easier. One of my favorite examples of a person's humble beginnings not stopping them from doing something with their life was Abraham Lincoln. He was raised in a one-room log cabin in Kentucky, where he received very little formal education, but taught himself to read and studied a variety of subjects ranging from law to mathematics. Abe and his family faced economic hardships. They moved several times during his childhood. He worked as a rail splitter, a storekeeper, and eventually began studying law. His debates and anti-slavery stance gained national attention and would later get him nominated as the Republican candidate for president. Later, he won the election. The Civil War threatened to tear the United States of America apart, and there was no way of knowing the future for America and its great country. In 1863, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. This proclaimed the freedom of all slaves in Confederate-held territory, making a turning point in the war and emphasizing the national unity and principles of liberty and equality. Abraham Lincoln was killed for not only his beliefs, but for the work that he put in behind those beliefs. Don't sell yourself short. This poor, uneducated little boy playing on the dusty floors of a one-room log cabin in Kentucky taught himself to read and write, and would later go on to give speeches and writings that continue to inspire movements for civil rights and social justice. His efforts to abolish slavery have forever made an impact on American history and American culture. As of 2026, the divide between the top 1% and the remaining population reached levels that's just not threatened individual prosperity, but the very fabric of social stability. While the American dream suggests a level playing field, the reality of 2026 is that one's birthplace remains the strongest predictor of their ultimate economic destination. This huge gap is not just about money, but also access to opportunities and resources, such as high-quality early education, healthcare, social networking. Statistically speaking, 67% of Americans still believe middle class is attainable for anyone, but data reveals a harder truth, that 3 or 4% of people born into the bottom economic fifth will never reach the top. A person's zip code is often more predictive of his future than his character is. Escaping poverty requires more than a change of income. In 2026, the American dream is a 50% success rate compared to 90% success rate for those that came across our borders in 1940. It can be hard out here at times. And while we're all consumed by our own situations, if we look to the right or we look to the left, we'll probably see someone doing better than us, and we'll probably see someone doing worse than us. These statistics I shared, they're not written in stone. Statistics change all the time. Progress is not impossible. It starts with us. It's our own responsibility as human beings to look out for each other, not to judge each other. In the first seconds of you seeing my face, hearing my voice, your brain's already made an automatic judgment about who I am, about my appearance, my education, my income, and probably whether I'm trustworthy or not. When we meet someone, our brains start calculating multiple scenarios, and we take note of what we see and never really know their defining characteristics. Most of you have heard my story. I didn't go through every detail of my life, but I think you got the gist of how I was raised financially. When I talk about bridging the gap, I'm not talking about financially. Our financial stability is irrelevant and has no bearing on who we are as a person. You might not be able to change jobs or make more money, and truthfully, you may not ever get the occupation that you're looking for. Start within yourself and make the necessary changes you need to be the best version of yourself. If you want more than you have, well, then you'll have to work for it. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be fancy. You don't have to strap on a cape and be Superman. You don't have to leap tall buildings or fly. Be realistic about who you are and what you can do. I work 12 hours a day on most days, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, depending on production. I have a family at home. I take my ass home after work. Often already exhausted, I know my responsibilities are not over for the day. Sometimes I cook, sometimes I clean. I do my part, and I do it so it leaves me hardly any free time, and I spend that with you. So I know what it's like to be overwhelmed and short on time. That's what I mean by figuring out who you are and what you can do, and then do it. When I started this podcast, I had hoped to provide a safe space to express myself and maybe help someone along the way. I hope to offer a type of emotional support, promote education, and provide mentorship, and demonstrate consistent kindness. I'm just a nobody, really. I don't think I'm special, but I think it's cool to be kind. It's a double whammy. You can be kind and feel good about yourself, and in the meantime, make someone else feel better too. I've been a taker all my life, feeling like the world owed me something. The world doesn't owe me anything. No one does. There are whole neighborhoods that don't even talk to each other. We've begun to isolate ourselves rather than to have to deal with someone else's problems or attitude. Be kind to a neighbor. Break the cycle of isolation in your community. Try volunteering, dedicating your time to a local organization, which would improve community resources, improve self-esteem, and strengthen community bonds. What you do today can be a lasting and meaningful change to our future. I tell people all the time that when I'm looking to pick out a book, I don't go for the shiny cover or the fancy author. I look for the most worn out book, the one with the pages turned down, cracked, faded, barely holding itself together. Hidden treasures are often found in the most barren places. These pages, although rough around the edges, are also full of wonder and beauty and excitement. Don't judge a book by its cover. You may never get to hear the story you need or feel part of something bigger than yourself. Whether you're on top of the mountain or you're walking through that valley, you'd be surprised how much alike you are. Sinner or saint, whether you're swiping a black card or you're wondering when your EBT card's going to hit again, we're all in this thing together. It takes all kinds to make the world go round. Figure out who you are and who you want to be in this world and go for it. Don't let where you live or where you grew up dictate where you're going to go in life. Don't let the silly mistakes that you made as a kid define who you'll be for the rest of your life. You'll be waiting for the perfect time or perfect place. You'll be waiting forever, constantly making excuses. There is something in your life worth getting excited for. You alone are worth it. Whether you're working on a factory floor, spending more time there than you are at home, or you're a high-level executive at a Fortune 500 company, there's most likely something in your life that you'd like to do, something calling you, prodding you to do more. Let's get to work. Find a purpose, something you care about, something that's more important than yourself. And don't let anything stand in your way of accomplishing that goal. High class, low class, no class, there's no excuse. If you're willing to put the work in, you can change your stripes. After all, those are just labels. Tear the label off, create a new labels. Labels put upon us by other people. So tear that label off or create a new one and give yourself the label that you want. Be the person that you want to be. I believe it's possible. I've seen it with my own eyes. Be the person that no one thought you could be. I challenge each and every one of you to go out this week and do something nice for someone. Say hello, hold a door, hell, just smile at someone. That's how they're doing. Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll see you next week. It's the Point of Impact Podcast.